Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Rebel Rewind. My name is Christopher, and Eric not here today, taking a personal day today. So um, yeah, we'll catch up with Eric next week. We still have a bunch of articles to go through, a bunch of Star Wars news, and I do have a special guest who will be joining me momentarily as well to fill in for Eric. So we'll get his opinion on some of these articles as well. And as you can see from the title, one of the big ones is Keanu Reeves was almost in the Acolyte, which is for me having Keanu almost in the Acolyte says that he could possibly play Revan now that he actually didn't get cast in the Acolyte. We'll dive into that article later, though. But first, we do have an article about Amanda Stenberg and how her social media and stuff kind of got uh, fans kind of flooded her social media. A couple of her posts with some nasty comments following the Acolyte's cancellation. Um, there's a couple, like there's two sides to this story. Like I did a video on this, and people are saying like she fired first with her video, her quote unquote diss track. I watched that video, and it seemed to me like she was kind of um, I guess bringing attention to all the racism, the intolerance to racism, not just with the kind of racist comments that some people were commenting on about the Acolyte, but also just in general. So in my opinion, I don't think she was in the wrong. But let me know in the comments or in the live chat here if you think she was in the wrong and the fans aren't at fault here. But there were some pretty nasty comments left on her social media either way, and I think as Star Wars fans as a whole, it just kind of makes us look a little bad there with leaving some of these comments on her social media here. But this is the article that I found on AV Club. So basically, the article goes on to say that after the Acolyte was canceled, there was a bunch of people who commented on our social media, and there's some posts here. These are some of the comments under Amanda Stenberg's latest Instagram post. Yet another black Star Wars actor getting harassed, and not a single word from Lucasfilm to denounce it. Is it the audience you want to pander to? So here's a couple of the comments here, which I'll bring up. So this is here's a couple of comments right here. So these are just some of the comments under her social media, and this was on Instagram. So how does it feel to have your terrible show canceled, Princess? Take the L, never do Star Wars again. Like these are some pretty nasty comments. Like I said, some people are saying that she did strike first with that diss track or quote unquote diss track. I don't think she's in the wrong here. But like yeah, like there's no need to make these nasty comments. So my grandfather has been disabled for 29 years. I had to watch him. I had him watch an episode, and he walked over to turn off the TV. Thanks for the miracle. Thank God this show is canceled. One of the worst things to come out of Disney Star Wars. So season 2 was canceled because the show sucked, or because everyone is racist. Like it's it was canceled because of the viewership, the low viewership. There's not really any need to make nasty comments on anyone's Instagram, regardless if they make comments that have to do with the Star Wars fans. Like as Star Wars fans, we should be better than that, and we don't have to um, make nasty comments, even if the actor said stuff. You know, it's we can be better than that. Here's another comment here. So glad this dog crap of a show full of woke agenda bullshit is over. Terrible actress, terrible director, and terrible show. Like I said, there's no need for that. So many deleted comments, power of many. Yeah, there's no need for some of these comments. If you didn't like it, that's fine, and you feel free to comment if you didn't like it. You know, maybe you didn't like the acting, whatever. But there's no need to make some of these comments. Hope your ego took the hit it needed. Maybe learn to accept the criticism next time before acting like a victim. The writing was bad. That's why it was bad. Like and on her actual Instagram post, like there was a lot more of these comments here. Um, Brandon,
Hey,
thank you
what?
for coming, friend.
How you doing, bro?
So good. My special guest, Brandon, filling in for Eric from Sire Speed Reviews this week. Brandon, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Sorry for being late. Actually, just left a friend's birthday party, so
All
here
good.
I am
All good.
partying with you. So let's continue.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I was just talking about the this article where fans have been posting negative comments on Amanda Stenberg's social media. Um, I'll bring the article or the post back up. Like, what did you think of some of these posts or some of these comments on her posts? Like, I
Man,
feel like that it's not really necessary. Like, if you didn't like the show, that's fine. Like, say you didn't like the show for whatever reason, but you don't need to make comments like this one, right? Like,
oh yeah,
how does it feel to have? Yeah, and some other comments I saw on Instagram, like they were saying, I hope you get fired or you don't uh, get another job or stay away from Star Wars and like go back to acting school. Like some people take that really personal, right? So
oh yeah. That's just way too excessive. It's just. I mean, with the Acolyte, like, I mean, we've talked about it. There's really good things in it, and then there's also things that aren't the best. But at the same time, I mean, this is where it's getting way out of hand. I
yeah,
didn't really see too much on my own on the internet about what's been going on her side of social media until you sent me the article, and I believe that was the first one you sent me, and I was just like,
yeah,
wow, this is
yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah. Yeah, I did a video on this, and people were saying like she made like a quote unquote diss track, and I watched that video. It
Oh yeah,
she doesn't call out like Star Wars fans specifically. She's just kind of like um, just bringing attention to the intolerance on racism right now, and there's a lot of
right.
it. There's a lot of it going on, right? So, um,
That's the thing too, is if you're taking offense to it, she might be speaking to you.
yeah, yeah,
So,
exactly. I got Ricky in the chat. What's up,
what's up,
Ricky?
Ricky?
My co-host Eric in the chat today. What's up, Chris and Ricky? Hey, Brandon.
What's up? I told him I had some big shoes to fill today.
Yeah, right. But it's always fun to get your input on some of this stuff because you're a very positive Star Wars fan and on your channel. Which do you want to let people know where they can find you while you're
Yeah,
here?
yeah, mostly Instagram and YouTube. I try to spend a lot more quality content creation on the YouTube channel, but I do TikTok as well for short form content, and of course the YouTube Shorts as well, but mostly YouTube. So yeah, anything Clan Brandalorian should be able to find me. So that's where it's all about.
Yeah, and his links will be in the description as well if you want to follow him and subscribe to him as well. But like I said, like you're very positive about uh, like a positive fan in the Star Wars community. Like you're not throwing nasty comments like this out. Like you
Nah,
might not like something, but you're not going to this extent, right? To
right,
write hurtful comments and stuff. So
that's a waste of time.
always, yeah, yeah. Like if you don't like something, don't watch it, right?
Simple as that.
So yeah,
It's very simple actually.
right, yeah. So the next article we got is one that Eric actually sent me. So the Mandalorian movie means it's time for one major Star Wars recast, which is I thought was interesting, and Eric thought thought it was interesting as well. So with Star Wars next upcoming movie, The Mandalorian and Grogu, on the horizon, it might be time for the franchise to recast one iconic character. Because Star Wars has been around for nearly 50 years, actors from the original trilogies are often too old to reprise their roles, even in animation. It's not uncommon for voice actors to take over the role for animated projects. This was seen in a lot of Star Wars, with Star Wars: The Clone Wars, where the only actor reprising their role for the animated show is Anthony Daniels. So while recasting has been a norm in Star Wars lately, there are a few characters that audiences are particularly protective of. For example, Luke Skywalker has hardly been played by anyone other than Mark Hamill. Grant Freely took over the role of Obi-Wan Kenobi because he was playing a 10-year-old Luke. So in titles like The Mandalorian, Mark Hamill was able to share the role of Luke with Max Lloyd-Jones, who acted as a stand-in. With the passing of other Star Wars actors, it's becoming more of a hot-button issue if Star Wars should continue using deepfake technology or recast. So with the Mandalorian and Grogu tied to the New Republic, this article is saying they should recast some of the original trilogy characters, specifically Leia Organa, because she was mentioned in in the Ahsoka series, which takes place in this Mandoverse here. Um, and basically, they're saying that it's time to recast Princess Leia, which I don't know how I feel about recasting. I kind of feel like maybe if they do kind of what they did with Rogue One, where they have another actress play her and kind of do a deep fake, because I feel like the technology is there to do that.
Right.
Um, but I don't know about like a full recast, like just have a different actress play her altogether and not do any deep fake. I'd rather see the deep fake and see it look like Carrie Fisher still. I don't know. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I think the deep fake stuff, it can get kind of tricky just because, it's at some point in the future, everything could be all casted by deep fake. It could all be
Yeah,
technology, AI, whatever, and that could, lose jobs, but someone still has to physically play the role, and we saw that with just like up top, we saw that with Luke, in the book of Boba Fett. And I feel bad because I can't remember that actor's name that played him in Mando season 2 when Luke came and saved the day,
yeah,
and also in the book of Boba Fett. But he did a great job. I always love watching those behind the scenes and seeing how they actually maneuver the deep fake. But I mean, I feel like once you see the deep fake once, you have to keep using it, because if we
yeah,
use even the actor for Luke, let's say, and we see him next time and it's like, wait, is this Luke or who is this guy, but they do a
yeah,
good job, I think, especially with a lot of Star Wars fans bickering about budgets right now. I don't know how much the deep fake costs. I don't know if that's going to end up running into maybe some screenplay issues or even just storytelling itself, kind of really limiting on the budget. But I'm all for the deep fake. It looks really good. And that
yeah,
that book of Boba Fett arc with Luke and Grogu, it actually, blew me away. It looked amazing. And it's just cool to see that, us being kids again, watching Mark Hamill, for the first time in the original trilogy. It takes you back. And especially, and this is where the Mandoverse is, just a few years after that time. So it really, really takes you
yeah,
back. So I'm all for the deep fake.
yeah. Eric has a good point. So he said I would say that I would give her daughter a pass to play Leia, but still with some deep fake. So similar like they
Yeah.
did in Rise of Skywalker during that Leia Jedi training scene, the flashback scene, because she'd be about that age anyways. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm all for that. Give Billy Lord a chance to play Leia and still do a little bit of deep fake, because she looks a lot like her mom as well. Anyways, so it's like minimal work, I would imagine. So
Yeah, I used to think that she didn't really look like her too much, until kind of seeing her in other projects and also just being on the internet and just seeing the comparisons. It's like, oh yeah,
yeah,
that is Carrie Fisher's daughter for sure.
yeah, yeah. So I'm all for the deep fake. Let us know in the chat though if you agree, or if you just want to see like a recasting, for example, like Sebastian Stan as Luke Skywalker. He looks pretty similar, but I think that would just still that would like throw me off a bit. I'd be watching it and be like, okay, that's like Winter Soldier as Luke. That's what
Right.
I'd be looking at. Yeah, but I mean, I'm sure like they could do like a deep fake with him and just make him look a little bit like a little more perfect, a little more Luke Skywalker. So
Yeah, they know what they're doing.
yeah, yeah, the technology is definitely there. So this one might get fans a little upset, especially fans who didn't like the sequels, fans that don't really like the Disney Star Wars stuff. Kathleen Kennedy will reportedly remain as Lucasfilm president at least till the second quarter of 2025, says the Bespin Bulletin. So, rightly or wrongly, the president of Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy, is always a topic of discussion among Star Wars fans, with questions usually raised whether or not Kennedy's tenure should continue, and a slew of rumors from typically very unreliable outlets and individuals that she's due to exit the role very soon. Something that happens every few months, it seems. So currently, Kennedy is under a contract until later this year as the president of Lucasfilm, following a 3-year extension signed in 2021. And though some fans hope that Kennedy exits the position once her contract expires, there's others that hope and expect Kennedy to sign another contract extension and continue in the position. Today, we have the news that will likely upset the former and excite the latter. So, according to a reliable industry insider, Jeff Snyder, the insider.com, Kathleen Kennedy is expected to remain the president at least till quarter two of next year. Quarter two being the months that run from April till June 30th. So that's still quite a ways away.
Yeah.
So yeah, the article continues on there. So if you guys want to read the rest of the article, all the links will be in the description below. But like she's had some successes with Star Wars under the Disney Lucasfilm. Like the Mandalorian was great, Andor was great. Whether you like the sequels or not, like I guess it depends on what you like, right? Like I like the sequels, so I think that was those were a hit. I mean, they made the money too, right? So
Oh yeah, it's
and obviously she didn't do too well with the Acolyte and Book of Boba Fett and stuff like that. But I mean, she knows what she's doing, and
yeah.
whether you like her or not, I mean, I think she's gonna do some good stuff as well with the Ahsoka series coming out, Andor season 2 coming out, right? So she has done some good stuff. You can't just be like, oh, she's done bad stuff and let's just get rid of her. You got to look at the whole picture, right?
Yeah.
What do you think? Are you happy? Would you be happy to see her continue as president, or are you on the side where you want to get rid of her?
Man, to be fair, I mean, it's just kind of like looking at, our whole presidency in the United States. It's like, oh, John F.
Yeah,
Kennedy did this, and then now, let's fast forward some years, and now we have Bill Clinton, and it's like, man, they all they're basically the face, like they're what represent the business or the country, however you look at it. That's kind of how I see it. But
yeah,
who's the runner up? Who's going to take that spot? I've seen a lot of people thinking it's Dave Filoni, and it's like, well, he has his own rank within Disney and Lucasfilm. So I don't know, like I him especially, writing stories and directing. I don't know of one who would want to actually step up to president while having that workload.
yeah,
So that's kind of out the window for me. But at the same time, it's like, well, who's going to replace? And I agree with you too. I think the sequels were a hit. Every time I went and saw them, even in my small town in Kansas, theater was packed. Of course, it's Star
yeah,
Wars, but I mean, at the same time, numbers don't lie. They did well.
yeah,
If we didn't have internet, we'd have no idea of what anyone was their true thoughts were.
yeah,
Um, I mean, Mandalorian, like you said, beautiful, good job,
yeah,
great job. Ahsoka, Andor. I still need to get around to watching Andor for the second time, but I did like it the first time. It's
yeah.
it's I don't know. It kind of just depends what you think is a hit and what's a miss. You know, the
Yeah,
Acolyte, I thought it had its goods, and then I thought it had some times where I was kind of scratching my head. But at the
yeah,
same time, a season two could justify that. You know, season
yeah.
one of The Walking Dead, season one of the Breaking Bad, you know, it starts weird, but then, you know, by the second season, you're like, oh, okay, it's just a season one. You know, that's
Yeah.
how I look at it. But I'm not looking at Kathleen Kennedy like, oh, I can't wait till you're done. Because to be honest, I've never really seen her talk much more than celebration clips. She's not out there, and at the end of the day, she's a very rich woman, so I don't think she cares what any of us think.
No, no, I agree. And unfortunately, it's the fact is like she's the head of the company, so everyone's gonna blame her for every mishap in Star Wars, right? Like
Hmm.
they're gonna blame her and they're gonna blame the showrunners, right? So um
Right.
yeah, but she's gonna take most of the blame. But like I said, like I thought the sequels were good and they made the money, so I mean as
Yeah.
long as she keeps making money for Disney, they're gonna keep her in that position too.
Yeah.
Wade thinks that made a comment here. She knows what she's doing. All right, she's tried to destroy every foundational character George ever made. I I don't see it that way. I mean, if you got something to back that statement up, but I mean, I don't see it that way. I don't think she destroyed every character that George ever made. I mean, um, I thought Luke in the Last Jedi was great. I think, in my opinion, that's how he should have went on, right? Like he kind of was always kind of borderline toying with the dark side. In Return of the
Hmm.
Jedi, he was using the Force choke. He almost killed his father there.
Yeah.
But like just to see him like actually restrict himself when he was going to kill his nephew, like that shows he's kind of grown a bit too. So I mean, I don't think she destroyed or tried to destroy every character that George made.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Eric said she was chosen by George, but I don't know what's going on and why she's making choices that annoy the fans. Though, I mean, I don't think that her choices annoy all the fans, but again, it just depends what you like and dislike from Disney Star Wars right now, right? So,
Yeah. It's kind of
yeah,
there's two things I take on that because like one, you know, with the whole Luke thing, and we've talked about this. I even pulled a clip from the first time I had you on my show and uploaded it just because
yeah,
we had just hit a good 5 minutes of just talking about Luke and you know how the transition worked. But it's just like the you know, we have Yoda who goes off and becomes a hermit, a great
yeah,
Jedi. And then we also have Obi-Wan, a great Jedi who goes off and becomes a hermit. It would only make sense for Luke to do the same thing in his old age, showing that
yeah,
he was once a great Jedi. And but here's my thing though with Luke, he has more of a reason why to go hide. You know, his
yeah,
own nephew, his blood family, he let down. Not only did he let down his nephew, but he let down his best friend and his sister, his twin sister. Like, how would that feel? You know, it's you got to put yourself in the
yeah,
shoes. I get it though. I
yeah,
get, you know, he's not the Luke Skywalker we saw back in the day. I get it, but
yeah,
you know, it shows too. It's real because he aged and you change as you get older, you know? So, I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. Yeah, Wade said Luke's character would never try and kill his nephew. He turned into a negative hermit that would let the world burn down around him because he was depressed. I mean, like Brandon said, like you got to step into his shoes. Like if my nephew destroyed my academy and did that, like yeah, I would feel like a failure too. You know,
Yeah.
so yeah. Luke started an academy and was so different from that movie. I mean, he did start an academy, but we saw him like at the last end of that, right? Like where the academy was already established. Like we still have a lot of uh, a lot of story to tell with Luke in this Mandoverse period as well, right? And we saw
Right.
him starting to build that academy in the Book of Boba Fett episodes. So, um, you know, he I think he's exactly who he should be.
Yeah. Also, too, we've had such a weird time from, you
Mm,
know, going from you know, episode 3 from 2005 to 2015. We had a 10-year gap where what's going on with Luke Skywalker. But then even
yeah,
before that, So here's all this Legends content. And so it's like, okay, Luke Skywalker has Mara Jade, and then he also has, the kids and all that. I feel like everyone got used to all the Legends Luke during this
Yeah.
off time from not having him. So when we get him canon in the Force Awakens right at the end to the Last Jedi, everyone's like, wait, what's this? Luke did all this crazy thing. Like, I'm not really too much into Legends. I think some of it's really cool, but I feel like that's the same argument for people who don't like the sequels. That's not my Luke. My Luke isn't married, because he told Grogu, you got to choose one way or the other. You can't have attachment if you're going to be a Jedi. Luke Skywalker is a Jedi. There's none of that. But I get both sides.
I do too. Yeah. And Wade said, we're all fans. We want the best. Glad you like it. Yeah, and that's fine. Like, if you didn't like it, that's fine as well. Like, we're all fans, regardless of which parts of the franchise we like and dislike.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, next we have a article on the Acolyte, which is another hot topic still.
Yeah.
So this one from Mashable, it says the Acolyte's cancellation is a huge mistake for Star Wars. So the article says, for 7 glorious weeks in June and July, I was excited about Star Wars again, and it was all thanks to the Acolyte. I feel the same way. Created by Leslie Headland, the latest Star Wars series was a breath of fresh air for the franchise, whose biggest live-action TV offerings had mostly developed into stale Easter egg hunts. Looking at you, Mandalorian and Ahsoka. While the Acolyte certainly wasn't without its own Easter eggs, it was also primarily original material. We got our first taste of the High Republic era in live-action Star Wars, as well as new heroes, twins May and Osha, both played by Amanda Stenberg. Which you can say what you want. Maybe you didn't like her acting. Maybe you didn't like some of the other acting in it, and that's fine. That's all subjective, right?
For sure.
We had Manny Jacinto as the Stranger, which I think he was the best part of the series, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
So I cast them mostly original characters, and a lack of the gratuitous Skywalker cameos kept the Acolyte feeling fresh week to week, as did its no holds barred action sequences, hints to enemies, to lovers' romance, and interrogation of the Jedi Order. So it was all different. It was all fresh. But on Tuesday, Deadline reported Lucasfilm would not be renewing the Acolyte, and according to the publisher, citing sources, the reasoning was ratings based, with the season finale drawing what is believed to be the lowest minutes viewed for a Star Wars finale. The cancellation might make sense from a numbers standpoint, as the Acolyte's budget was reportedly 180 million for 8 episodes. But the loss of the Acolyte is also a blow to its audience, many of whom like it, like me, like myself, like yourself as well, Brandon. We saw the Acolyte as a way to reconnect with the franchise, and some just Star Wars on TV is just always fun. Yeah. So there's a nasty flip to the fandom. Bigoted so-called Star Wars fans took every opportunity to attack the series with racist, sexist, and homophobic comments, all because the Acolyte dared to center women and people of color. But yeah, they're saying Lucasfilm. Yeah, it goes on and says Lucasfilm did little to speak out against the hate during the Acolyte's run. Speaks volumes that they continue to push aside audience members eager for something new. Speaks volumes too. But they're basically saying it's kind of a mistake, because it's they're gonna get rid of anything new, right? They're just gonna keep going back to like Skywalker related stuff, stuff that's already tied into movies that we already have. And I kind of agree. Like, what's it say to people who want to do like show creators who want to do different stories? Like, our fans are gonna backlash because It's something fresh, something new, and
Yeah.
we're just not going to get any fresh stories, right? Like we're going to get
Yeah.
stuff that's connected to the Skywalker saga again. So, what do you think?
It's so weird because, like, some of those takes in there, it's so lazy to me because there's no.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, this is just downgrading what George created, and it's like, man, I don't know. I don't even
it's
know what to say.
enhancing it. I think it's
Y-
enhancing it.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, we can sit here and talk about how we all know Mundi's birthday, it's just because everyone knows it. So we're mad that he's in the
Yeah,
Acolyte, from stuff like that all the way to even Plagueis being shown. Like when Plagueis came on the screen, my jaw dropped. I looked deep
yeah,
into my brother's eyes and I was like, you know who that is? And he's like, Plagueis. I was like, bro, this is crazy. Like, let's talk about those
yeah,
cool moments. Like everyone has to agree seeing Plagueis live action. um
yeah,
you know I've seen the argument where it's like, oh, he's creeping around the corner, he's not like that, and it's like, well, what Plagueis do you know? Like, that's perfect
yeah,
Plagueis.
yeah,
Or let's talk about episode 4 and 5, just seeing Chimere being the Sith that's been hiding this whole time. Like, that's
yeah,
some of the best, Star Wars that I've seen. Like, that's awesome, everything
yeah,
about it.
yeah,
I'd just rather
yeah,
talk about let's talk about the good, like, and we can talk about the bad after, because that makes more sense. When you just immediately
yeah,
go to the things you don't like, it just kind of, then it makes it bad,
yeah, yeah. And then they just stop making original stories, right? They're like, oh well, the fans want Skywalker related stuff. That's like they complain either way. People complain either way. There's no pleasing everyone.
Yep.
Master Soul was great. The Stranger was good for sure, though. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah. Master Soul was one of my favorite characters in the series as well. So, yeah, him and
Yeah.
Chimere for sure. But moving on to the next article here from StarWarsNewsNet.com. The Acolyte stars Lee Jung Jae and Manny Jacinto react to the series cancellation. So earlier, I guess last week now, the Acolyte Leslie Headland's mystery thriller set in the waning days of the High Republic got canceled. News has sparked strong reactions across the fandom, and now the show's stars are speaking out with their own thoughts on the news. So, actor Lee Jung Jae, who captivated audiences as Master Soul, reacted to the news. Speaking to Entertainment Weekly, he did not expect to return for season 2 as his character is dead. Spoiler alert. Uh, but was
No.
still looking forward. Yeah, was still looking forward to where Leslie Headland was going to take the story. So he said, "I really loved Leslie's writing. I thought that she was a great writer and director who was very talented in storytelling as well as creating characters and creating meaningful structures within the story. So I was actually personally really looking forward to season 2 with her at the helm." I agree with him. Like with
Yeah.
all of that, I enjoyed it. I get it. Like I get some people didn't like the writing and some people didn't like the some of the episodes as well, but it's all subjective. It's all
Yeah.
subjective, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Um, yeah, he hasn't given up yet, though, and expresses hope that the character's stories may return in some shape or form down the line. He said, honestly, I'm hoping that maybe there could be changes in the future because you never know what's going to happen. So, on a personal level, I really hope that we could get to see further stories of Leslie's second season. So, even like maybe like a Tales of the Jedi or like some sort of animation like that would be awesome to see. So that's he's not wrong, right? Like he's not wrong. Like
Right.
the stories could continue in other forms, even though the Acolyte season 2 got canceled. So, um, what do you think?
Yeah, I think I like how he noted that on a personal scale, it's like she did her thing, and
Yeah,
that's just respect with from a human to another human. And at the end of the day, all of these actors and actresses, they all have feelings and stuff, and they really gave in to the product and what Leslie Headland had put on the board. This is the first project by Leslie Headland that I've checked out. And I've heard that she's, done some other movies and stuff like Russian Doll, I think. I never seen that, but I know that on a personal level, she doesn't deserve to get bashed on just because the season 2 got canceled.
Yeah.
But I'm also
And
sitting
none
there
of them
thinking,
do. None of them deserve to get bashed because
yeah, no,
the season was canceled. Yeah.
and we've
Yeah.
seen it before,
Yeah. Even Manny Jacinto, so he even posted to social media. It was a little more of a subtle reaction, but he posted the heart with the image of him and Osha in that final scene. They're holding hands, right? So he clearly
Yeah,
wants
that's cool.
to see this kind of stuff too continue, right? But
I feel like
unfortunately,
I feel like you also just get invested, as an actor, hearing this
mhm,
story, and maybe some of the characters, they get made fun of for not being actual Star Wars fans, but these days I don't know what declares you as an actual Star Wars fan.
yeah,
So I think it's like, some of these characters who know about Darth Plagueis and hearing that they didn't even know he was going to be in the story, like they want to see what continues and how their character can help bring that to light. Like that's awesome. Like Manny Jacinto, especially being the highlight of the season, I feel like commonly, um, it's awesome just to see the range he could have, and he did a great job. And I feel like he's really just, the heart emoji kind of it speaks 1,000 words. Imagine if you
yeah,
wrote a paragraph and how people would be like, "Oh, I liked you, but now you're doing too much." I think this is a very, very appropriate thing right here.
yeah, yeah. Eric said, we all sat up from our seats for the few seconds when Plagueis made his entrance. Yes, we
Man,
did. Right?
man.
Animation would be a good way to continue the story, but I'm not sure if Disney will do that now that Disney is scrapping all Acolyte articles on online
Damn.
store. Yeah, and that's another article we'll jump into as well because stuff actually got removed, but I believe it's up now. We'll jump into that. That's like one of our last articles. Um, but our next one, Bespin Bulletin. So Lucasfilm have reportedly have multiple unannounced Star Wars TV series in development. So that's kind of cool to hear
That's nice.
that there's some. Yeah, it's good to know that they got some stuff, and that's what I was assuming anyways. That they would have some stuff just kind of in the works, being developed at the time. So last month, The Acolyte wrapped amid divisive response from fans and was promptly canceled earlier this week due to poor viewership. As Star Wars fans and Lucasfilm dust themselves off and look into the future, Skeleton Crew awaits on the horizon, which I'm very excited for. Um,
Yes.
yeah, a series co-created by Spider-Man Homecoming duo John Watts and Christopher Ford, which I enjoyed Spider-Man Homecoming, so I have no doubt that Skeleton Crew is going to be great. So Skeleton Crew is one of 3 shows set to release that Lucasfilm have announced and will be followed by the second and final season of the critically acclaimed Andor next year, and a second season of Ahsoka likely to arrive in 2026. Star Wars fans have a lot to look forward to with these 3 series mentioned, and a plethora of announced movies. With the first Mandalorian and Grogu due out to arrive on May 2020 or May 22nd, 2026. However, there are some fans that have been wondering about the future of live action Star Wars on television, whether or not we'll see a slowdown due to Disney Plus's cutbacks and a handful of the movies slated to release in the upcoming years. In this latest newsletter, Jeff Snyder, again of the Insider.com, has revealed that Lucasfilm at this time have several new shows that simply haven't been announced in development. He said he provided no insight as to what those series are, but hearing Lucasfilm are hard at work on the TV side of things will likely delight fans amid Disney focusing their efforts on the theatrical releases, switching their focus from Disney Plus which was the company's priority for a handful of years. The article goes on and says, as for when we could get announcements for these new shows, it's the obvious answer seems to be Star Wars Celebration 2025, which takes place from April 18th to 20th in Tokyo, which would be my guess too, right? Like
Yeah, that's what I
that's
was
where we
thinking.
would get some of these announcements. They're not going to announce everything all at once, right? So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's
I'm
really
excited for
exciting.
this. Yeah, what do you think?
Hey, you know me. I just want my damn Quinlan Voss and Asajj Ventress show. That's all I want.
Yeah,
And hopefully they can
yeah,
do something. But I'm down for anything really. But I think the animation route, uh, kind of like Eric was saying, I think that's just such a good, clean way to bring it up because I feel like 20-minute episodes, it's a lot cheaper to make. I know it takes
yeah,
a lot of time and really getting everything down to a T. But I mean, we have one of the best animation studios, and I'll always stand on that. And I love everything that they put out. And it also, for some reason, I feel like we get some of the best storytelling is in these animated series.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
I
Well,
mean, look,
and it fills in a lot of gaps too. So
yeah, in a quick way too. Yeah.
yeah. JT says, wait, recasting young Leia for what? Yeah, recasting like Carrie Fisher's Leia for the Mando and Grogu movie because it takes place in a time where Leia's still she's around. She's a big part of the Republic, and she was even mentioned in the Ahsoka series, right? So it would make sense for her possibly to show up. So recasting could be on the horizon. I
That'd
guess
be
we'll just
so
have to
cool.
wait and see with that. Yeah, right. See Princess Leia show up. Yeah, you can never cover so much in animation. Hence the Clone Wars. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So this next article I thought was pretty awesome. I had no idea this was a thing until the article came out. I think just the other day. I think it was. So Keanu Reeves reportedly almost starred in the Acolyte, still being considered for another Star Wars project. So new reports about Star Wars: The Acolyte have started to emerge following the Star Wars TV show's cancellation, and one suggests that Keanu Reeves was nearly cast in one of the series' leading roles. The Acolyte already has a star-studded cast from Carrie-Anne Moss to Lee Jung-jae, but it seems as if another may have been close to joining this dazzling roster. While Lee Jung-jae garnered plenty of praise in The Acolyte for his role of Master Soul and was pointed to as the series highlight, this role was nearly played by someone else. So, uh, shared by the Insider, Keanu Reeves was reportedly in consideration for the role of Master Soul before it ultimately went to Lee Jung-jae. While Reeves didn't get the chance to star alongside his co-star from The Matrix, in this particular Star Wars series, Jeff Snyder goes on to add that Star Wars is reportedly still interested in casting the actor in another project. Given that there are several upcoming Star Wars movies in the works, Reeves certainly still has a chance to make his franchise debut, especially as a famous fan cast for Knights of the Old Republic's Darth Revan, which is exactly what I thought when I read this article here. James Mangold is doing the Dawn of the Jedi, like the first Jedi movie. Could we see Darth Revan show up maybe in that movie at the end, or maybe a movie that comes after that in the timeline? That would be pretty cool. I would be very excited if we got to see Keanu play um, Darth Revan.
Oh yeah, I'm all in for that. I'm not too wise with the Old Republic times. So I think this would be really awesome, especially in a live action iteration to kind of get me on board with it, just because I'm not a huge reader. So I think
Yeah,
this would be a good way to get me in. And I love Keanu Reeves. I was pretty late to the John Wicks, but I mean, obviously that's kind of what he's known for. And nowadays, Matrix. Shit, I love Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and
yeah,
And I think it's just he's a good actor. You know, he's been around for a while, and I mean, you look at him, and he's Darth Revan. You know.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it could be good if he shows up as Darth Revan. It wouldn't be the first time they cast somebody based on a fan cast, right? Like they did that with Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka, right? People
Yeah.
were fan casting her, and then they actually cast her. So this would make a lot of fans happy, I think.
Yeah.
Eric said, "Please, Keanu, hold out till Darth Revan is offered." Yeah, I
Right.
agree. Yeah, just wait. It's coming. It'll be like Henry Cavill showing up in Deadpool and Wolverine, right? So I'm excited for
Hell
this
yeah.
news. Yeah,
I know, and that would suck
uh,
to see him finally get into Star Wars, and he's like some bounty hunter or something. It's like, no,
yeah, right,
you're Revan.
right. There goes everyone's dreams of him being cast as Revan. He just shows up as a bounty hunter,
Man, come on.
right? And then our last article, like Eric mentioned in the chat, the Acolyte merch actually got removed. So this article
Crazy.
comes from the Direct. So Star Wars removes the Acolyte merch from the store following cancellation. Um, so the Acolyte merchandise gone from the Disney store. So following the sudden cancellation of the show on August 19th, the official website of Disney Store has completely excised the show's presence. This includes the delisting of the Acolyte branded merchandise. In addition, the Acolyte section listed on the site's sidebar was taken down. Though the use of the internet's archives Wayback Machine, which enables users to view snapshots of websites taken on certain dates, one can clearly see that there were, in fact, a few pieces of the Acolyte merch still up for sale mere days earlier. So this is a screenshot here. So yeah, it does show four there. This included below a sweatshirt, which was featured the likeness of several Jedi from the series. So I believe this stuff is up now. It was taken down, but it's up now. So if we click on the Disney store here,
Hopefully it's
I'll
up.
go over to it. Yeah, I believe it is up now.
That'd be crazy if it was in the sale category. It's like, it's all
Right?
on sale. It's back, but
Yeah,
get
so
it.
it is back.
There we
It
go.
was down for a while because I actually saw a couple of videos talking about how it was down, and they were all happy because it got canceled and there's no more merch. But it is still up there, so I'm happy. Some of these actually don't look too bad.
Yeah.
Like the
I
Jedi
mean, it's funny
Masters
to look
one
at
looks pretty cool.
oh yeah. Kelnaka Vernestra. Yeah, that's tight.
Yeah.
I like the t-shirt on the far right, I think, the most.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
Kalmaka and the group of them. Yeah, the
Yeah.
murderers of the witches.
I
Yeah.
can still never
So
get over how Soul looked when it happened. He's just like, oh, did I do that?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so it is up there now. So it might have been taken down for a little while, but it's back up there again. So
That's
um,
good.
yeah, it's good. It's all good, right?
Do you think?
But
Do you think in the future? Been reading on Twitter as well as some people are like, I'm buying all Acolyte collectibles and I'm keeping them stowed away, and I'm going to see what they
yeah,
resell at as in the future. Do you think? Do you think there will be some buzz around it in the future?
I mean, if they're not renewing the show and this is all we get from merchandise, like the Funko Pops, like I got the first wave of Funko Pops. Did you get the wave of Funko Pops yet?
I got
The Acolyte ones?
I got Chimere.
Yeah,
I was gonna grab Yord because I liked Yord. I thought he was cool. Um,
yeah.
but
Hashtag Yord Horde.
yeah, a little Yord horde over here. But I was gonna grab Master Soul as well, but I think next time I go to GameStop, I'll use like my $5 off for it and go ahead and grab him because Basil I'll probably be all right on. OSHA I'll probably be all right on.
Yeah.
And then what was the fifth one? Who's the fifth one?
Yeah, Chimere. There's Osha, Soul, Yord, and Basil. So yeah,
Oh,
that's all
okay.
5.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah,
for sure I need to get Soul, but and then Soul and Yord for sure.
yeah. I mean, they could go up in price just because there's no other Acolyte pops coming out, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what determines that. I mean, I guess if the show wasn't too popular, there might not be too many people buying them. But
Yeah, that is true.
for hardcore Funko Pop collectors, they're going to be buying them regardless of how good or bad the show was. I think so.
True.
Um,
True.
yeah. Do you think though that we're going to get a second wave though? Because you would think that Funko would already have the next wave ready to go before the cancellation, right? So maybe
Yeah.
we get a second wave.
And I hope they don't can it, because that would
Yeah,
the stranger. Oh my god, dude. They could that would sell everywhere. That could be
yeah,
that could be the next Captain Rex, especially if we
yeah,
don't see Chimera again. Because
yeah,
the helmet's scary, looks awesome, very intimidating, and just Chimera itself,
yeah,
yeah, that would be cool to have the Chimera and the stranger next to each other in the collection.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, if they already have the designs and like they already have the sculpts already made, I can see them releasing it. But I guess if they don't have that stuff, they probably won't release it. Like they're not going to go through the trouble to make new sculpts for characters that were in a show that didn't have the viewership, right? So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed. There's a second wave already made, and they just got to announce it. So,
Yeah.
yeah, if there's no second wave, at least do the Stranger. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Just
So,
I mean, even make it like a Comic-Con exclusive or something.
yeah,
Like, man, that
NYCC's
would,
coming up, so
yeah.
yeah, that'd be
Hooded
cool.
Kylo Ren, right, is coming out this next time.
Yeah, for this year, I think that's a rumor that the hooded Kylo Ren, which I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see what that looks like because we've already got a
Yeah.
hooded Kylo Ren. So yeah,
Yeah.
but that'll do it for this episode of Rebel Rewind. Brandon, again, I want to thank you for coming on and filling in for Eric as he takes a bit of a personal day today. Let people know where they can find you once again.
Yeah, absolutely. And hope Eric's having a good Tuesday evening as well. And thanks for letting me join. And but yeah, of course, you can find me Clan Brandalorian on YouTube. Go subscribe over there. Everything lore, theories, Funko, Lego, everything over there. That's what we try to do on my channel. And of course, just come chill and hang out. We do live streams at least once a week. Try to have on new guests as well. Kind of busy during this time, but always getting new people on and even old friends just to talk some Star Wars. It's always a good time. But yeah, TikTok as well. But you can, if you ever want to get into contact with me, hit me up on Instagram at Clan Brandalorian as well.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for everyone watching, and definitely leave a comment and in the let us know in the comments what your thoughts are on these articles as well. And if you want to check out the articles again, they're in the description below. But thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see everyone in the next episode.